Hello, everybody. As Luke mentioned, I am Giulia and I am working as an international marketing and recruitment team member in Università Cattolica del Sacro Cuore in Milan. And I'm here today with a handful of nice speakers that I want to introduce before I introduce the agenda itself. But let's go over what we are doing today. We will be meeting all the speakers, as I said. We are going to go over why you should study in Italy and why you should choose Università Cattolica among all the universities that you can find in Italy, what the school is, and the program, what it is, what the peculiarities of the program are. We are going to have Professor Passarotti, Veronica, Alessandro, and Dr. Inverardi, and all of them have some facts to share, some experiences to talk about. I'm going to have a little interview with most of them, basically. So that's what we're doing for the most part. I want to go directly to the presentation because I have so many people to interview. So I really wish that you like what we are going to hear. And I really wish that everybody will give you something interesting and nice to know about this program and how this is the right program for you if you want to go deeper into linguistic computing and AI specifically. We're going to talk about this. So as I said, we have Professor Marco Passarotti. He's the coordinator of the program. Then we have Veronica, who is a current student in this Master of Science in Linguistic Computing. Alessandro, who is a really recent graduate in Linguistic Computing as well. And Dr. Inverardi, Nicole Inverardi, who is working right now in Intesa Sanpaolo. If you don't know Intesa Sanpaolo, it's a really big bank in Italy. And he's working as an AI ethicist. So we're going to go over what the job is actually, because I'm really, really curious actually. So first of all, who is Università Cattolica and why you should study in Università Cattolica? So Università Cattolica del Sacro Cuore is a really big university in Italy. You may know Italy for a number of reasons, but let me just say Italy is a country which is full of culture. It's full of things that we do better than any other country in the world. We are not talking about food only, actually. We are very good at manufacturing. We have a really nice productive system, and we also have a very nice healthcare system. So basically what we do at Università Cattolica del Sacro Cuore is we try to bring all of this excellence together in different campuses. So depending on where you study, it's probably because what you're studying there matters in the sense that you study where the subject of interest that you are actually going to know more about while you stay with us is directly linked to the campus localization on the map of Italy. In this case, we're talking about Milan specifically because the Master of Science that we're talking about is in Milan. But first of all, I wanted to say that Italy is an amazing country to study at, not only because of the culture, but also because we do a lot of things really good. And that's why there are also a lot of universities around, because we have many excellent, ways of way of doing things. So that's, I think, the main reason why you should consider Italy as a country of destination to study. But why you should study at Università Cattolica del Sacro Cuore? And first of all, what is Università Cattolica del Sacro Cuore? As I said, it's a really big university with more than 40,000 students, an old-ish university actually, because we were founded in 1921, but I don't know if you know, but in Italy we have universities whose origin trace back to the medieval times. So it's not that old compared to public universities like the University of Bologna, but we're pretty ancient, and we were founded more than 100 years ago. We have 5 different campuses, as I said. It's I'm just gonna list them up really quickly: Milan, Brescia, Piacenza, Cremona, and Rome. And we also have many international students in all of these different campuses. So I think that is very interesting to know for you guys who are international students. We also have a variety of programs taught in English, more than 40 at an undergraduate and graduate level. Most of them are at a graduate level. Plus, we have more than 200 Italian taught programs. So it's absolutely a big institution in the country of Italy. As I said, there's reasons why you should study in Italy, but there's also reasons why you should study at Cattolica in particular. I think one of the most important is that we are a private institution. What does it mean? In the context of Italian higher education, it means that you have a lower student to teacher ratio, so you have less students for the same number of teachers. So of course, that leads to a better learning experience for you guys. Also, we have higher funding usually for research and for student services compared to the public universities in Italy. And also the third thing, I think it is not only an Italian peculiarity, but also any other private universities around Europe, at least, I would say also the world. When they are private, they are more deeply connected with the job market. So this is one advantage that we also have compared to other universities in Italy. Because we have higher fundings for research, we have a strong academic profile. You will see the rankings that we have, but that is the reflection of the effort that we put into research and in student services, and the way that we do education, which is a career-oriented way of doing education, that is positively reflected on our rankings as well. Another thing that I think is not as common in many universities, especially private universities in Italy, is that we have a really multidisciplinary approach, in the sense that we have 12 different schools with space from agricultural and food economics to literature, English literature, to psychology, to mathematics. So all of this makes a very peculiar, distinctive learning environment that I really recommend, because that means that we can mix and match between in between faculties, and actually most of our programs at a graduate level do. They are a combination of subjects from different subject areas, which makes it multidisciplinary and very nice and engaging. As I said before, we have a local campus strategy, meaning that we try to integrate faculties and local communities while fitting the needs of both of them. So we need a campus specifically for agriculture. We're not going to place it in Rome, because Rome or Milan, I would say, that doesn't have a field, crops where they can produce food. But we're going to place it in Cremona, in Piacenza, which is at the heart of the Food Valley. Okay, so that is the way that we try to do education. We respect the local excellence, and we try to put our campuses where the local excellences in Italy are. Last but not least, the student experience. Our students really feel welcomed, and we have student support organizations, student associations. Also, because we're an international oriented university, that means that we can give you a lot of possibilities to go abroad. I didn't underline that in the previous slide, but we have more than 500 partner universities, meaning that you can do Erasmus programs, you can do exchange programs, you can do double degrees. So it's really, really interesting, and I think it adds some uniqueness to your academic path. As I said before, the way the work we do is reflected in the rankings. We just had the last rankings published, but these ones are from the 2025 US QS World University rankings. We placed in the top 450. It is a great result. And also in the Times Higher Education World University ranking, we placed in the top 350. And I think it is worth mentioning that most of our schools, you see the red asterisk at the bottom right of the presentation. You see that most of our schools are top 5 in Italy. So Italian organizations, Italian institutions, and Italian companies recognize the value of what we teach in and actually all of our faculties, but particularly in some of them. You can see that we also have very many schools. As I said, we space quite a lot. So just last 1 minute to talk about the program itself, because I know that you guys are here for that. The program is a 2-year master's degree taught in English completely, taught in Milan. So we will talk about why this program is specifically taught in Milan. And it gives you the title of Laurea Magistrale in Linguistic Computing. So it gives you access to a PhD if you want later on. And we're actually going to talk about what you can do as research, because I think Professor Passarotti has something to say about what you can do as a research fellow in this area particularly. What I think the peculiarities of this program are, but we're going to talk about this more in depth, is that it has a lot of focus on AI, but it bridges it with humanities. So it is a linguistic degree. So it gives you the theory of linguistic, but it also gives you the computational skills to thrive in the AI sector. So it gives you a hands-on experience with the AI. We have in this particular course, and as I said, Professor Passarotti is going to tell you all about it. But we have a lot of classes who are specifically about AI assistants, search engines, translation tools. So really, linguistic computing is in everyday life, and we don't know much about it. Also, I think it has a particular ethical AI focus. So it means that, you can use AI for many things, including for doing bad things, but we try to teach you how to do it in an ethical way. So I think these are the 3 peculiarities that I, as Università Cattolica del Sacro Cuore recruiter, always talk about when I'm asked what the peculiarities are. But I want to hear all about our program from Professor Passarotti, because we have him with us. So, Professor, please, can you introduce the program and how did this come to life? What was the need that the School of Linguistic Science and Foreign Literatures wanted to tackle with the creation of this program?
So thank you very much, Julia, for this very nice introduction to linguistic computing. I understood something about my own MA listening to you, so thank you very much. And the course, the MA on linguistic computing started 3 years ago, and you were asking what was the need. Well, the need is in our daily life. I mean, you said we are surrounded by linguistic computing and we don't know it. It's true. When in your life you become a computational linguist, I am a computational linguist, your friends, your family, your wife think that you are totally useless. Oh, poor guy, he became a computational linguist. He was such a good guy. And then he ended up becoming a computational linguist. And suddenly, I have become so much helpful and so much useful to our daily life because we are surrounded by linguistic computing, which is inside this, for instance, or in your computer whenever you write a WhatsApp message and your orthography is corrected. Maybe you get angry for this because sometimes it's wrong. Well, it's my fault. It's fault of linguistic computing. But whenever you write a query on Google and you write words and you have words in output, whenever you write a prompt to ChatGPT or any AI system, what do you use? You use words and you have in output words. So we are surrounded today by the so-called big data. We are living the era of big data. And lucky us, when I say us, I mean as linguists, most of these big data are linguistic data. So there is a big need today to automatically process this linguistic data in order to extract information and then knowledge. And if you think the most important companies today are those that have this expertise, this know-how, processing large amounts of data. Most of them are linguistic data and extract from them information and knowledge. So there are two big needs. One from the research world, which is my word, the word of research, basic research, fundamental research, where we are living the so-called inevitable turn, computational turn in the humanities. You know, for centuries, the humanities have dealt with data because an archaeologist or a philologist or a linguist deals with data. But today, for the first time in the history, we have such a big amount of data that we can process automatically computationally. This is a methodological turn. On the other side, there is a need from the world of industry, of companies. And I'm in touch with different companies and they ask me for professionals from the humanities with a computational expertise in order to process typically humanities data like linguistic data are.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think it is a very detailed explanation of why linguistic computing is so useful right now. How does the curriculum of this program balance theoretical foundations with practical applications? Because we said at the beginning, you know, it's a theoretical course at the beginning, but then it really gets practical.
You know, while designing the syllabus of the course, I refrained from the temptation of making a very and only practical MA. I mean, giving students immediately a computer and teaching them to write a Python script immediately. Instead, here we have a first year that is not mostly but highly theoretical because our aim is to build the so-called computational thinking in the humanities. I mean, first of all, our students who mostly come from the humanities must grow this computational thinking, which means think about a typical humanities content like linguistic data are in computational fashion so that a computer can process it automatically. This is theoretical, first of all. You have a bit to change your mind. I had to change my mind. I come from classics, which is the most humanities area. And I had to change my mind, and I'm lucky in doing this in order to be able to process automatically, for instance, Latin and ancient Greek or languages with a computer. The second year instead is more practical. So you learn programming, you put your hands on data, you build mini projects in different courses. And most importantly, you have the opportunity to take an internship in companies and to show companies out there what you learned in university. Because sometimes there is this separation from the university world and the company world. Well, this is something that I can say does not happen in linguistic computing. There is a strict collaboration between the two worlds. So it's theoretical plus practical, because you cannot do things without having a theory behind them, which will be an added value of our students.
Thank you very much. Going over to what makes the program unique, are there any innovative teaching methods, some industry collaborations, some real-world case studies that make this program particularly cutting edge compared to the other programs that we probably see in other universities?
Well, we decided to take this blended modality of teaching. So there is an alternation between lessons in presence and lessons online, both synchronous and asynchronous, that is to say, recorded. And it was a challenge. I think that it was a good idea, especially for courses that have lessons dedicated to exercises. For instance, I record some lessons of my course dedicated to exercise, which is better than having an in-presence lesson because students are permitted to stop what I'm saying, applying the exercise practically and then go on. Otherwise, if you have a classroom with 30, 40 students, some are faster, some are slower, so you spend a lot of time and people lose time doing that. And more importantly, we have collaborations with different companies. This is something that is peculiar, especially in the humanities. This does not mean that other courses do not have these collaborations, but our collaborations are very, very strict because I had the feeling when I started the course that there was a big requirement, a big search from the companies for professionals with this mixed background, the humanities and computational skills. And indeed, it's like this. And our students have a large range of possible internships in different companies, going from web companies, social media, banks, insurances, libraries, translation schools, of course, research centers, but also the automotive. I just bought a new car and there is a lot of linguistic computing on my new car. I'm enjoying it very much, more for the linguistic computing part than for the engine, for instance.
Well, I mean, you see it once you study it, you see it everywhere. Okay. Can you give an example of a real world problem that students will learn to solve through the program or that you have seen students solve in the program in the past?
Yeah, for instance, here we have a speaker coming from a bank, and a student of mine was hired by a bank in order to develop a train model, a language model, able to detect automatically the fake bank transfers. So this is very practical. Seems very distant from the humanities or from linguistics. It's not. Another example is when the election day is coming, I have a lot of work to do because different political parties want to know what people think about the programs. So they want to apply opinion mining techniques in order to go on social media and extract the opinion of people, or sentiment analysis, extracting the sentiment of people about the topic. Uh, as for the research world, as I mentioned, we can look at old data with new tools. Sometimes I tell students, now we can cast intellectual questions into experiments, which means bringing the scientific method in the humanities, dealing with empirical data in the humanities in order to make it real, that computational turn that is part of our changing world in the research area.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor. What type of academic background or skill should prospective students have to thrive in this master's?
You see, I think that the key word here is interdisciplinary. I come from a world of university where there was, sometimes is still there, a clear-cut separation between the humanities and the hard sciences. This cannot happen anymore. The world outside there is interdisciplinary in itself. And we cannot graduate students without interdisciplinary skills. In our case, the students will learn, will grow, will gain experience and expertise and knowledge in linguistics, in programming, in large language model and artificial intelligence, but also in project management, in decision making with artificial intelligence, in machine translation, in mathematics. There is a course the second semester which is about the basics of mathematics in natural language processing. I know that this sounds very scaring for students coming from the humanities. It's not, especially because this is an added value, because you will be graduate students with a solid background both in theoretical linguistics, applied linguistics, computational linguistics, natural language processing, artificial intelligence, and you will know how this works, because this works using and applying advanced statistical algorithms based on mathematics, and you will be solid in this. And this will be an added value when you will search for a job outside there.
Absolutely. I can absolutely agree with you, Professor. Thank you very much. I think it is time for us to talk to Veronica, who's going to give us a student perspective on what Professor Passarotti just said. So thank you very much, Veronica, for being here. Can you introduce yourself and share why you chose this Master of Science?
Thank you, Julia. Hi, everyone. I'm Veronica. I'm from Ukraine, and I have a background in languages, which is languages, philology, literature, a little bit of teaching and interpreting. And after 2 years of teaching, I found my passion for programming, but I also wanted to not to lose sight of linguistics. And the master's degree of University of Cattolica was the perfect choice, not only because it offered me an opportunity to combine both linguistics and programming, but also because it was one of the best options for people like me with humanities background, and it is taught completely in English. So that's why I chose it.
Yeah, good. Thank you very much. And what has been the most exciting and the most challenging part of the coursework so far?
Well, to tell you the truth, for me, everything is exciting here because we have a hands-on application of mostly all the majors of the course. But the thing that I liked most was the idea of having mini projects instead of just having regular tests, at the end of the courses. In the second year, you have mini projects for Python, databases, linked data, annotation. You can do them on your own, but it also gives you an opportunity to work as a team. So this was one of the most exciting parts. As for just theoretical part, I really like the overview of computation linguistics and also semantics. As for the challenges, I like challenges, and I think there is nothing you can do if you decide to, if you put your mind on it.
Absolutely. I like this mindset very much. Are there any standout courses or project that you feel like it made a significant impact on you, and you feel like it really taught you something?
I've already mentioned the great overview of computational linguistics taught by Professor Passarotti, and another courses that I liked really much for linked open data and digital humanities. They are very hands-on approach, and the professor is very helpful and can answer many questions. And it is interdisciplinary because for digital humanities, you can apply programming, you can apply Python, and some knowledge of statistics on literature. So it's quite exciting.
Yeah, I can imagine. What is the classroom environment like? What is the mix of international and local students, and how does that impact your experience?
So we have this year we have an international class. We have students from China. I'm from Ukraine, and we have also students from Croatia, Kazakhstan, and Russia. And no one is as isolated. Everyone works together as a team, and we sometimes also stay after class to troubleshoot some problems and tutor each other. So it's inspiring.
Very nice. That is very nice to hear. And what is your career goal after you graduate from this program?
Well, actually, during the first year, during one of the group works for project management, I got a nice connection, and I found an internship in an Italian financial institution. And after that, they offered me an apprenticeship, basically last week. So they offered me an opportunity to work with chatbots, to develop chatbots and test them and analyze conversation, and also use Python and SQL to query and analyze data to improve the user experience. So I think I'm gonna stay on that.
That is very nice to hear. And do you speak any Italian, Veronica?
Yeah, I have a B1.
Okay. Okay. Did you know any Italian before coming here, or did you just learn it while you were here?
Well, I came 1 year before I applied for this course, and I already had a B1.
Okay, that's nice. Just to set the expectations for everybody listening. I mean, of course, this is a highly international, I think it's a higher international course, and the subject itself really it gives you the opportunity to work with any company anywhere in the world. But of course, if you plan to stay in Italy and you know a little bit of Italian, it always helps regardless of what you want to do. So that's a little disclaimer, but I think it is really useful that we mention it as we talk about the experience that Veronica just shared with us. So really, really, I am very thankful for Veronica's intervention in this, and I think we can go on to Alessandro, who is a really recent graduate from the program. Thank you for being here. Can you introduce yourself and share why you chose the MSc and what are you up to now? So what do you do now?
Thank you, Julia, for your introduction. And hello, everyone. I am Alessandro. I recently graduated from this Master of Science in February. And in the beginning, I chose this program because, as Veronica, I came from a background of humanities and, in particular, linguistic sciences and literatures. During my bachelor's degree, I took some courses of computational linguistics, and I fell in love with this discipline because it allowed me to unite my passion for languages and literatures with some more computational and modern approaches to analyzing text. And also, I thought that beyond literary applications, such skills in today's world are valuable and wanted by companies, especially since, as Professor Passarotti said, we are living in the age of big data and the rise of artificial intelligence and large language models, especially. And related to that, currently I'm working in as a data scientist in a software house. In particular, I am in the research and development team, and I focus on doing research and developing AI solutions that with large language models, mainly trying to solve business needs for our customers. For example, information extraction from text or images, or fine-tuning models for coding, and who knows what we will be doing next.
That is very interesting. Thank you very much, Alessandro. So I have a specific question about your career. And do you feel there were any specific courses, projects, experiences that helped you transition to your current role?
Yeah, I think that in general, all the courses that I took were useful in order to achieve to get this job. But if I had to name some in particular, I think that project and change management was useful because, for example, in this company, which is a software house, the agile methodology is very much used. So having already the knowledge about this kind of project management method was particularly useful. And also, as Veronica said, I liked a lot about the courses of digital tools for the humanities, and also natural language processing for social media, because they integrated the more theoretical aspects of this discipline with the practical applications, so programming in Python and working as a team. That is something that I currently do, because I think that when you are hired in almost any company, you need to know how to work and relate with other people. So that's something very valuable, in my opinion.
Thank you very much, Alessandro. And what do you think employers value the most about graduates from this program?
I think that probably the fact that it is a program that creates figures, professional figures that are unique, since we are a combination, a sort of combination between linguistic expertise or humanities expertise and more technical, practical skills, like knowing programming languages, but also knowing at least a little bit of mathematics and statistics, because everything in machine learning and artificial intelligence starts from statistics and mathematics. So it cannot be to work in this field. And I think that, for example, having this combination of characteristics is valuable, because sometimes I see people talking to ChatGPT like if they were talking to another human, and that should not be the case, because in ChatGPT is a system that we should talk to ChatGPT following specific instructions and a specific way of talking to such a chatbot. So knowing this kind of prompt engineering things can help developing a better chatbots and conversational experience for users, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. One last question. What advice would you give to prospective students considering this master?
I think that one advice is don't be scared by mathematics and statistics. though you come from a humanities or a linguistics background, because there's nothing to be worried about, and the professors are very, very nice, so they will help you get through it. And also, if you are passionate about languages or literature, I think that you should consider this Master of Science instead of a more up a lot of opportunities, and it is very, very exciting. So I think that it would be the correct choice.
Yeah, thank you very much. I always have this feeling that our students are so scared about the mathematics part of our courses. It doesn't really matter what course, but students are scared of mathematics. What I say always is that mathematics itself may be hard, but when you apply it, it becomes much more clear. It becomes much more, you see the usefulness of mathematics in real life, and you understand why it is so important, and it doesn't scare you that much anymore. So thank you for bringing this up as well. So last but not least, Nicole, thank you for being here. Could you introduce your background and share what your current role is in Intesa Sanpaolo? Because I'm not quite sure I know anything about what you do, Nicole.
Thank you very much, Julia. And first of all, thank you for the invitation and the opportunity to share my experience. So I graduated in philosophy in 2022 from the Catholic University of Milan. And to be honest, the slice of my heart is remained there. And shortly afterwards, I started my adventure in the Data and Artificial Intelligence Office of Intesa Sanpaolo, the department of the bank that oversees the development and implementation of AI systems. My internship year started a few days after graduation. Today, I am a data and AI ethicist in the Data Science and Responsible AI department. And this job title did not exist in ISP at the time I was hired. Today is increasingly in demand and recognized.
Well, absolutely. I get why it didn't exist a couple of years ago. So it's so nice to see and so exciting to see how fast all this industry is. So can you tell us about your transition from studying philosophy to working in data and AI? So how have your humanities skill helped you navigate this field? Because you think, oh my gosh, you just graduated in philosophy. What are you doing in AI, right?
So the path that led me from studying philosophy to working in data and AI ethics was primarily traced by strong personal passion and interest in the intersection between philosophy and technology. So throughout my studies, whenever possible, I chose courses that delved into these topics. And I must say that fortunately, they were quite numerous, even if, as you said, 2, 3, 4 years ago, it seems an era for AI. A crucial point, I believe, has been the research for my thesis, which I conducted on the topic of the ethical implication of massive data extraction and its use in predictive recommendation and generative AI systems.
Very interesting. Well, that sure should be something that interests you in the whole thing. Otherwise, I think it's kind of hard to just jump in without any interest in that. So thank you very much. Many believe that AI is a purely technical field, no? So how do you see the contribution of humanities graduate in shaping this AI development, and how the ethical part of it can be helped by the philosophy and humanities background that you have and many other students could have?
Yeah, of course. I firmly believe that the field of AI is not purely technical, and legislators, companies, research centers are approaching the AI revolution in a very multidisciplinary way. as the speakers before me perfectly explained. I think the correctness of this approach lies in at least two fundamental reasons, but we can add some others. Firstly, the very notion of artificial intelligence is provocative for human beings, who have always been characterized in evolution by their cognitive and ingenious abilities. So the role of the humanities in this regard is essential to enable a proper understanding of what artificial intelligence is, because the definition is not scientifically mature, let's say, and to understand how it works. This is essential to ensure that human-machine interaction takes place in a conscious manner without losing control, especially in decision-making context with a high impact on people and societies. Secondly, AI is unquestionably technology, but given its pervasive and wide application in society, AI systems should be conceived as socio-technical systems. The impact that this system can generate for health, security, people's fundamental rights and freedoms, democracy, the rule of law, the environment are profound and complex. And in this, artificial intelligence is an area that urgently needs to be studied and explored from many perspectives. The winning approach is for sure the multidisciplinary one, in which each discipline can bring its own specificity to the table.
Thank you very much, Nicole. It's very inspirational to hear you talk about this, actually. As AI continues to evolve, what do you think the ethical challenges would be in the coming years, and how can professionals with like a strong ethical foundation, such as you, contribute to responsible AI practices?
Yeah, for sure. We have to be active on many frontier topics. And I'm proud to say that a recent report by Evident AI ranked us third in the world for scientific publication in the field of responsible AI. So for sure, we need to evolve continuously, to train continuously as AI does. Moreover, I think that the present is a critical historical moment in which we can make decisions that will shape the future somehow. That's because AI is already in our lives, much more than we can perceive. And the first challenge for me is to spread culture and awareness about these complex, powerful, and silent technologies. To enjoy the unparalleled benefits that AI can bring to human world, it is necessary to know the unique characteristics of these technologies and the risk that they can pose to individuals and societies. AI is also an issue of great geopolitical relevance. And in this sense, I believe that Europe has distinguished itself for courage and foresight by issuing last year the first horizontal regulation on AI, the AI Act, on whose one of whose primary intentions is to protect safety, health, and fundamental rights of people. Privacy, cybersecurity, fairness, explainability, human surveillance, liability for damage caused by AI are just some of the topics on which best practices and standardized approaches will need to be achieved in the near future.
Yeah, I agree that we are in time right now, but we have to move as fast as technology does, and I think that is the main challenge. If I don't know if you agree with me, but I think what you said really resonates with the challenges that you talked about. I feel like it's really it's a gigantic field, and each and every one of the people who study and go deeper into this can give a valuable contribution. So thank you very much, Nicole, for being with
Thank
us
you.
as well. I think it is time for the questions. So Luke, do you want to help me with the questions?
Yes, I will. So we already have received some questions, and let's go over to those. First of all, question from Beverly: what are the prerequisites to qualify for this program?
So yeah, we're going to go over it a little bit later. So I think we can leave it aside for now. We're going to go over the entry requirements in a second.
Okay, because I think the most questions are for in terms of entry requirements and admission related.
Okay. So maybe we can go over that before, so that we can save a little bit time.
Yeah, I think so, because we might avoid then more questions. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So if you have any questions after this part, please let us know. As I said, as we all said, this particular master's has to have a little bit of attention as to where you come from. You can. I think I didn't. Oh. I'm sorry. The field-specific requirements are actually wrong. I forgot to change it. Actually, I think I took it from another presentation and I forgot to do that. But anyway, I think also Professor Passarotti can help me out with this. So if you have a background in languages, in humanities, in philosophy, as Nicole has, you are definitely eligible for this kind of master's degree. I don't remember exactly how many credits you have to have, so if you let me just get the website in a second, I'm gonna go over the entry requirements and what you have to study in order for you to be, the ideal candidate. So let me go get him.
You must have a B2 level at least of English. And if you studied in Italy at bachelor degree, if you have a BA in L11, L12, or L20, you are immediately eligible. If you do not have a BA in one of these three classes, L11, L12, L20, you must have at least 24, in Italy we call it CFU, it corresponds to ECTS in Europe, in some sectors, and 20 in other sectors. I cannot list all of them here because there are many, but since the Italian system is different from other European and non-European systems, in most cases there is no an exact correspondence between our CFU and the CCTS at the European and non-European level. So in most cases, there is, first of all, a check, an administrative and a content, a scientific check of your curriculum before, after your application. And then I have a colloquio, we call it, so an interview with all the candidates in order to understand their background.
Yeah, just to clarify, the background that you could have and still be qualified for would be linguistics, literature, foreign languages, communication, human sciences, media studies, philosophy, statistics, or economics and management as well. So you are all welcome to apply, of course. And as Professor Passarotti says, our international admissions office actually goes through all of your studies or your previous studies. And then absolutely a B2 level of English is required as well, because as the classes are all taught in English. In this particular case, you can find the entry requirements and what you need in order to get into the program at the specific web page that actually I think Luke is going to pop up at the end of the webinar, because usually that's what we do. So yeah, that would be it. One thing that you may have to, you may not know, but you need to know, is that we have an application deadline, a final deadline actually, for non-EU students on May 7th. So we still have a bit of time, but the next deadline is actually on the 26th of March. we really encourage you to apply early, because that means earlier feedback, and that means that you can organize yourself after you get admission, specifically if you're a non-EU student. When you need to get a visa and stuff, there's going to be some logistical questions and details that you're going to have to solve. So the earlier you apply, the earlier you can get a feedback, the earlier you can get started with all the other things that you have to do. And for EU students, the deadline is going to be on the 25th of June. So a little bit more time, but that's because you don't need a visa. Then for tuition fees, it's 6,625 for EU students if your income is less than 150,000 euros. And then for non-EU, you have a flat tuition fee of 9,050 euros, but then you have international scholarship that lowers it to 6,400. That would be it. Do you need, I think, Luke, you can go ahead with the other questions that we have.
Okay, let's go over to those. In the meantime, you see it popped up the overview of the program, so you can click on that link, and at your own pace, you can then watch the rest of the prerequisites as well. There's a question from Maria still about any possible documents needed, or also for non-EU member states. Can you say something specific about that?
Yeah, so in order to apply, you just need your well, if your university background was taught in English, you just need to send over your documents. So of course your transcript of records and your ID and passport. You also have to send out your English certificate. If your transcript is not in English, French, or Spanish, it will need to be translated. I'm sorry, I'm not really talking that much today. Yeah, you will need the translation, an official translation of your documents. Then if you are non-EU, from a non-EU country, after you graduate, yes, you will need to provide some additional documents like apostille and stuff, but they're going to guide you through that after you are admitted. So the International Admissions Office is going to take care of that. In order to apply, you just need your transcript, your documents, so personal documents, passport and CV. You're gonna need a letter of motivation and a letter of reference from one of your professors, or if you are working already, from one of your bosses and or colleagues at your workplace right now. So those are the documents that you're going to need in order to apply. Then later on, when you get admitted, you're going to have to provide more additional documents, but those additional documents are going to be asked from you specifically by our International Admissions Office.
Okay, thank you. That is quite useful, I think, and good to be reminded of those necessary documents. Next question from Lois. It's organizational, as she mentioned. Is it research-based, or is it possible to do it online or mixed?
Yeah, I think we answered to the question as well while we were talking, but Professor Passotti mentioned that some of the classes are registered, some of the classes are in presence, but one thing that I always say is that you need to be in Milan, of course, because classes are in Milan, and usually classes are not mandatory in Italy. Nobody can tell you that you have to go to class all the time. But of course, if you pay your classes and you live in Milan, why not go to class? That's definitely something that you need to think about when you decide whether or not to show up on class, you're missing out on an opportunity, especially on the second year where all the projects are. You know, Veronica talked about the projects and stuff. So why not go to class, I would say.
Okay, very good. Good point. Yeah, I think the research-based part, is that, I'm not sure if that was clarified. Is that answered? If the study is
If it's
research-based?
research-based, I'm not sure I get the question actually.
So Lois is asking if this program is research-based, if there's research basically done.
Okay.
What do you mean with the research here? I mean, there is some research work here, of course, at the MA thesis level, and during some courses, you are asked to do some mini research projects. And here in university, there is a research center on computational linguistics called the CIRSE, which is headed by myself, where most of the professors of linguistic computing work. And let me say that it is a very, very lively, dynamic research center where students can come and talk to the different professors. And in most cases, the research work done by students are never with one professor only of the research center, but whenever they come here, they move around the different rooms of the research center because different professors can help them in doing their research work. I think that Veronica and Alessandro could confirm this, that the research center is a very inclusive and attracting place, especially for young scholars. We treat them as our young colleagues, as really they are. They are, because they are more brilliant than us, and they are much more brilliant than I was when I was their age.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Next question from Gabrielle. How much mathematical knowledge is required?
No, nothing. I mean, we will start from scratch, and both for computer science and for mathematics, we start from scratch. But when I say from scratch, I mean from scratch, especially for computer science. You don't need to have a background in computer science. This must be crystal clear. In the first year, first semester, there is a course named Fundamentals of Computer Science for Linguistic Computing. When I say fundamentals, I mean very fundamentals, really. And mathematics is taught in a very simple manner. So don't worry about this.
I have seen so
Okay.
many happy faces about this
Yeah.
answer to the question. So I think we also with this specific answer we also answered to Jillian because
Yeah.
she also asked this kind of questions. So I'm happy that you brought it up as well, the computational part as well.
Exactly. Well, I think most questions have been answered. We just had some general questions. Maybe, I don't know if that can take too long, but Lou had a question to Nicole or the professor about, it seems that you have faith in mankind, but it seems that AI is mainly used to be more productive and replace humans. What is your take on this? Well, I don't know if that's the right platform now, but I don't know if you can take a very short answer to this.
There is a short answer. Then I will leave the stage to Nicole. I thank you, Nicole, very, very much. Thank you very much for your contribution. Really helpful, really great. And the answer is, we will teach you what is the added value of humans in comparison to AI. And you need to know AI in order to know what AI can do and what AI cannot do and what humans can do instead of AI. But you must know how it works in order to be better than the AI. Second, there is another question here. Sorry. Did linguistic computing come into being before or after the rise of AI with ChatGPT published in November 2022? This is a good question. we started before it. So the first year of linguistic computing was 22-23, but the research center here was founded in 2009, and originally the research group in computational linguistics here was founded in the 70s of the last century by Father Roberto Busa, who was one of the big names, big pioneers of computational linguistics. So we have some experience.
I couldn't agree more. Just a little info more. A news of recent days is that Amazon automated a large part of coding through Gen AI. So it is very important to know how will how will jobs change in future, which will be the jobs more replaceable by AI itself, which not. And it's very, very important to have thinkers and humanities in this field of research. I guess that given the work that I do on a daily basis, this kind of tasks of needs will never be replaced by artificial intelligence.
Great. Thank you very much for both answers, and that's good to hear. So there's definitely still a human side, luckily needed. Now, let's see. I just wanted to make sure also for people that joined and that you gave us your feedback through the polling. So I've been opening up a couple of polls, and one of those questions was actually just now that what you would still like to hear about, and the housing was one of the top answers as well. And Gillian just asked about that. Is the university housing for students during the program, or do you have to find it independently?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna answer to this. Usually, we have some housing for international students available through UniCatt and MIL service. You can find more information about housing itself on educat.eu. So I encourage you to do that as well. Unfortunately, like many other universities in Europe, we don't have enough housing to provide for everybody. So that's another reason to move early and apply as early as you can, because when you have an admission in your hand, it's easier to go to UniCatt, to MIL, or even to external services like Housing Anywhere and say, you know, I have an admission, so I would need information about how to find accommodation. I would need to apply for accommodation. If you have an admission in your hand, of course, it's easier for them to give priority to you. So I would say move fast and apply early because of this. Also because, unfortunately, the housing market in Milan, particularly, but in all university cities around Europe, is always very fast, and we don't have enough for everybody. So first come, first served, I guess.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for that answer. And that was the last question we have received so far. So it seems we're getting towards the end of the session. And with that, I would like to already thank everyone for having joined. I saw a lot of people from different countries join today. So you might be colleagues coming to this program, who knows, next year. Also, I'd like to thank all the presenters, all the students, of course. Thank you very much, Veronica, Nicole, and Alessandro. And of course, Professor Passarotti, thank you very much. And Julia, I'll give the last word to you as a thank you as well to round off the session.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. So we have an email and a telephone that you can use to contact us if you have any other questions. You can absolutely find more information if you scan on this QR code. This is the application form, and we also have an email that you can find, and I'm also going to write in the chat. It's international.inquiry at unicat.it. If you need anything, you can absolutely send us an email, shoot us one. We are here to help you understand whether the path that you're taking is the right one for you and to help you through the way. Thank you very much to everyone involved in the presentation. It was very interesting, very nice. And see you soon in our application form, you guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Grazie, grazie.
And let us know how we did in the polling. Bye-bye.